Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on one thing, single barrels. Best of all, you can try before you buy. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to sign up for their email and text distribution so you know what they have in stock, what classes are coming up, and who from the industry may be coming in to visit. The ABV Barrel Shop. It's where single barrels live. We are also sponsored by the Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers traveling minibars that are no bigger than a small purse or toiletry bag. Best of all, they are fully customizable so you can create the perfect piece that is unique for you. If you own your own business, what a fun and unique way to promote what you do. Check them out online at thebartogo.com. That is the number 2 in the Bar to Go. If you have wholesale questions, call my friend Isabel Clark at 504-481-1297. Finally, we are sponsored by the Neely Family Distillery. NFD is a family-owned business that keeps ringing up awards in the spirits world. Head to Sparta, Kentucky to experience the family history, award-winning spirits, and meet the Neely family. Check them out online at neelyfamilydistillery.com. Now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we talk about the adventures GPS takes you on if you try to use it to drive to Maker's Mark Distillery.
It's for real.
My name is Miss Beka Sue. Please join me in welcoming my co-host, Steve Akeley, along with our special guests, Darren McElroy, Lenny Eckstein, and Bo Cumberland.
Hey, gang, what's up?
Howdy.
Hey, all.
So yeah, there is this phenomenon where you just punch in Maker's Mark Distillery on the GPS and hit go. It's something we're all used to these days. This is how we get around. You know, you never even check. You just kind of follow it blindly, and wherever it says turn, you turn, and you just assume it knows the best way to go. And not necessarily the case with Maker's Mark. We'll talk about some of these adventures after the break. For right now, Lenny said there's something he wanted to talk about. What is that, Lenny?
Yeah, I'm wondering, so if you guys have ever found yourself in a situation, or and I'm sure you have, I'm wondering what the best one would be, where you put yourself in an uncomfortable circumstance of sorts because you knew it was for the best for whatever reason, for be it self-betterment.
I thought that was just how life went.
Well, way to ruin it. You got to have a better one than that.
That just felt like life in general for me.
Thanks.
So you put yourself in a bad situation, you're saying?
Bad situations where we feel uncomfortable.
Not bad, but just uncomfortable. Something you were like, you know what? I don't really want to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Fuck it. Because it's for the best. Like it'll be good for some reason or another.
Okay. I mean, yes, certainly. I have to do that a lot. I mean,
But I need an example, not just yes.
Yes, I get up in front of a crowd and be responsible for their entertainment for an evening, and it's like, am I really that funny of a person? Can I entertain people for an hour or 2 hours or whatever it is?
You do this all the damn time, though.
I guess and it always somehow works. Somehow it works out. When I stand up at the front, I'm like, I'm the dumbest, most boring motherfucker in this room. Why the hell am I the one in the front of the room? It just happens though. So then it just happens organically. So yeah, I don't know. It just works out. I just somehow, some way, but I don't go in confident. I'm never confident when I'm starting out one of these things. Yeah, it just happens.
When did this happen most recently?
All the time. I mean, I just did an event this past week at Lit Cigar Lounge where I was doing a panel discussion with Fonte and the master distiller for MGP and Danny Polizzi of Penelope Bourbon, and my job's to moderate it and keep things going, and I'm like, and they got all the executives from Luxco there because those are Luxco brands, and I was like, what am I going to do here? Is this going to be bad? And then it starts and it was fine. It was great. I think the people had a good time. I get into that mode, but I'm uncomfortable.
When might argue, Steve, that you're really good at that though?
I guess, but maybe I'm good at it because I don't take it for granted. I get nervous about it. So
that's true. Maybe
that's helpful.
Good point.
Maybe when I'm up there, like I'm gonna fucking nail this. Wait for this. Then I crash and burn. Maybe.
Yeah, fucking pro in the house, moderator pro.
Exactly. So I never feel that way. So
I got one that I think this is what you're asking. If it's not, just tell me I missed the mark. Whatever.
Was it where you dropped your pants in front of Chet Zoller?
Oh God.
I've never heard that.
He'll never drop it, Bo.
You know what, Steve? So yesterday at Bourbon on the Banks, I ran into the Robinsons and the Ewads and all them, and we were talking, and I was revisiting the story of being in Colorado last year when I climbed up the ladder at 10th Mountain.
You fell off the ladder. Yeah.
And I said, I was hoping that story would take the place of the pants story, but it didn't. It just
because I was in the other room. I heard what sounded like a bag of skin being dropped off the skyscraper. Because it's a concrete floor, like all distilleries. There's a concrete floor. Bo falls. I just hear like this bag of skin hit the floor. I don't hear like Bo in pain or anything like that. I was like, I wonder what that noise is. So I go walking in there, and there's Bo getting up, and then the two people that are with him, they're supposedly going to be filming, are horrified but don't know what to do.
And Steve's laughing, and
it's
like all good friends.
It's a form of medicine, Bo. It's laughter. So
take pictures first.
The people that work there, and they're like just hoping that, like, oh my God, we left this guy like unattended, and kills himself. And
I'm sorry about the pants thing. It's just larger than life. Like some people asked me because I went to the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame, and they asked who went in, and more than one person, when I said Chet Zoller, they said, did he mention the pants story? I'm like, oh yes, in his induction speech to the Bourbon Hall of Fame, he mentioned the fact that life's been good other than that time this guy jackass dropped his pants in his driveway. Other than that, he's loved being in bourbon. No, yeah.
All right. Well, that wasn't what I was gonna say. So I think this is what you're talking about, and if it's not, but so all of you probably know that one of my side gigs, which isn't going to be for long, I've decided to quit doing it, but I do wedding videography, right? Mm-hmm. So recently I have this wedding that's coming up in November, and the girl was like, it was like a year ago that she booked me, and she wanted to start paying up front, but I don't like to get paid like a year before I do a wedding, because by the time the wedding gets here, I've already spent that money, and then I feel like I'm doing it for free. So I don't like to do it. So I like to just hold off, pay me some up front, and then pay the rest at the wedding. Well, anyway, I haven't even collected anything from this person yet, which is good because I get all of it at the wedding. Well, this girl emails me yesterday, as a matter of fact. I get this sob story about how her grandmother was the one that's actually, her gift to her granddaughter was the wedding videography. Her grandmother has passed away. Sure. She doesn't have the money,
of course,
to do this.
Of course. Yeah.
So her thing is not like, we just want to cancel it or whatever, but it's like, do you have any ideas? Talking to me, do you have any ideas how we could rectify this?
Yeah, and so, no.
Well, so here, this is the dilemma.
This is so. Let me interject, because it's a fantastic story. This is the way this shit works. We're doing some travel stuff and like that, and the hotels want to make me responsible for people that cancel at the last minute, and I can't do it because no one cancels and be like, you know what? I decided there was another festival. Every one of them is my grandma died, and I have to go to the funeral, and I can't. I'm going to be canceled out, so please cancel my hotel room. And when I tell that to the hotel, they're like, well, then yes, of course, then you owe for that, Steve. They don't care about the sad story, but I get put in the middle where I have to care about it. But go ahead, Bo. I know what you're saying here. This is the person's putting you in a bad spot, but let's hear how this thing finishes up.
Right. So here are my options at this point. So I can email her back and say, too bad, so sad, sorry about your grandma, but no pay, no video. Or I can be like, well, I'll do it. What can you pay? Whatever. Or so, I mean, I guess to answer your question, Lenny, I mean, I'm put in a bad position, and so either I can come and I don't know. It's not even up to me. The way I look at life in general, if you are such a piece of shit that you're going to screw me, then you have to pay for that later. I don't have to worry about it. But if it's a true story, and her grandmother really is dead, and she really can't afford it, and like I could be a nice guy and say, okay, what can you do it for? And I'll do it for that. And we'll just call it square and make somebody's day. Or I could be the sucker and it's like, then I film it. And then she's, thinking to herself, this idiot.
I would suggest, and again, I don't know what you ultimately did here, Bo. Here's how I would suggest.
I haven't done anything yet. I haven't made up my mind yet.
I would suggest, first of all, you're sympathetic of the situation, and you truly are. You're not making that up. I would assume that she's telling you the truth. Her grandmother died, but I would say what I'll do is I'll do it for half down at the wedding. So you pay me, so we get that half, and for you, it's like probably because they would have paid the other half last year, and then it's gone. So, and I would take that half then at the wedding, and then assume you're not going to get the rest. But then I would say we can work out payments when you can afford it down the road. So if it's 3 months, why don't we do half of that in 3 months, and then the other half at 6 months after the wedding, and hopefully that's good. Hopefully this helps your situation. Please let me know. And I would throw it out something like that is how I would frame it.
I would say, what do you have to trade? And maybe she's got like a cool motorcycle or something.
Oh God, yes.
Or who knows what she says. But just
I don't think you want the answer to some of that.
Don't open that door.
Yeah.
He goes, well,
chicka bow wow.
Before I'm married,
we can do this the hard way or the easy way.
You're not married yet.
Because
Oh wait, Bo's
I
married.
could give you 30 minutes, and I could go. I only need 2. Like that's it. All I need.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. I would suggest being compassionate and then offering a deal, but I don't think it means you have to do it for free. I think you should offer to do it for half up front and then the other half on some back end that you work out. And I would also caution you that you're probably not going to get paid that other half. I would kind of, in the back of my mind, kind of know that. It's like, when we all had to take up the money to get my buddy Gary bailed out of jail. He's like, don't worry, guys, I'll pay you all back. Fuck, he never paid any of us back.
Yeah.
No.
You can chase that money around the rest of your life, or you can just be like, the fucking Gary's an asshole and he's quirky and he's our friend and he'll still be our friend, even though he didn't pay us back the money we had to pay to get him out of jail in Florida.
Of course.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking about doing something like that. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I mean, even like I said, even if it is a scam or whatever, I don't want that on my conscience. If it's a real thing, and I'm like, had a chance to be.
I think you're offering a very nice solution if you lay it out like that. I think you're being fair.
She should at least pay half.
Yeah, that's all you can ask. Is it?
Yeah.
Was that even what you were asking, Lenny? I hope.
It was in the same ballpark. But
Right.
Okay.
How about this?
Question again?
I'll go next, and it'll better clarify.
That's going to
my
make sense.
asking of the question.
Okay.
So the question was like, and that was a fine answer, but the question was like, if you've ever put yourself in a situation that was a little uncomfortable for you, but you did so because you're like, it's the right thing to do, and I want to see what happens from this. So I'll give you mine, and I'll start by saying I'm pretty sore today, and I'll explain why. So as I've probably talked about at some point in the past, I've had my kid, Arlo, in jiu-jitsu for about a year, and he's been doing these tournaments, and he usually does pretty damn well. But he also completely, when things go wrong, he melts down, completely loses control of his emotions and starts crying, and it's ridiculous. And honestly, like, he's 9. It's time to, enough of that shit. So he had a tournament yesterday, and in an effort to try to, like, help him through this, I thought, you know what? Fuck it. I'll enter the tournament too. And I'll show him that there's nothing wrong with losing and just brushing it off. Now, that's what I told him. In my mind, there would be no losing. Like, I was going for gold.
Right.
Now, here's how it went. And I'm still happy about it, even though sore. Smaller tournament. No one in my division, which is age 45 to 50. 155 pounds, which I didn't eat for about 2 days to be there. And I got fucking steamrolled.
There's nobody, you're not competing against anyone and you still got steamrolled?
No, I did. They lumped brackets together, and these kids were 23, 24.
Gotcha.
Way bigger than me. And I was like, okay, here we go. Fuck it. I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. And I did. I considered it a victory that in my first matchup, I went to the time limit and only lost by 8 points.
Okay.
The second one was the first one that Arlo stopped playing fucking video games and actually watched. And I went up to him afterwards and I was like, hey, man, see? It's not so bad, right? And he looks at me and goes, Dad, that was kind of sad.
Yeah. It was like that wrestling match, New Jack versus Gypsy Joe, if you ever saw that one. Watch that on YouTube. It's a classic.
Okay. But I guess, like, I thought, I was like, you know what? Not the most comfortable place to be, but I'm going to, like, try to do something good and show them that it's cool. Show them that it's okay to lose and you don't have to cry. Right. Didn't really work so well. I didn't cry, but I don't think he took anything away from it. And I'm really sore today.
He was actually embarrassed. So what you've done?
Yeah,
now,
exactly.
You emasculated it yourself. Yeah.
But still.
Okay. All right, Beka. So now you know what he's framing out when he talks about this. Have you ever found yourself in a very bad situation?
Where I made
you went ahead and did it. You went ahead and did it.
Yourself in it.
Like where it was an uncomfortable situation. I know there's probably millions. I just can't think of them right now. But there's like the only one that like I'm remembering currently that was like a kind of an awkward situation, I guess, but I had to like power through because I had to, was for work down here at the distillery, was we had a very large tour, and I had to do the tasting because I don't know why I had to do. Oh, actually, no, I remember why I had to do it. So it was me and Matthew Wright, and we had 100 people doing a tour.
Wow,
100 people, Jesus Christ!
Yes. And so we were trying to figure out the best way to do it, and it was the best way to do it was to split it in half. And we had the first half do their tasting first, and then they went and watched their video. Then they did their tour, where the other people did their video first, did their tour, then did their tasting.
Okay.
And we did it all out in the Rick House. So me and Matthew are the loudest people at that time at the distillery. We're still probably the two loudest people we've ever had at the distillery, just to be fair. So Matthew did the tour because that was his thing, and I was always doing tasting. So I was like, that will, I'll do the tasting out in the Rick House because that's just what we had to do. And when when you have 50 people out in the Rick House to do a tasting with, and just people are kind of shitty anyways, the best way to do it was you need to be higher than people when you're trying to talk to them, right? Like it's a lot easier if you're up on
did a little coke, a little bump,
not that kind of higher. I wasn't on drugs.
Never mind. Okay.
Not higher. You need to be physically higher than them.
Right.
And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna hop up on like one of the barrels. I can talk down to them, not in a talking down to them way, but I can speak down to them. They can all hear me, whatever. This seems like the best, best way to address.
Sounds like it's going to go wrong here in a second.
So I hopped up there, to speak to these people, and I hop up there, and the very first comment that I get is, "Oh, damn. So should we start throwing ones?"
Oh, no.
And I went,
I
looked at the guy and I went, sorry, I only accept hundreds.
Yeah.
Anyways, and then I started with the tasting.
So through 100.
That motherfucker didn't have any hundreds on him.
Or teeth.
Not worried about it. But it was just like you had to just kind of do it, like, cause like we have to do a tasting, and like the people we had working there at the time, no one else was going to be loud enough other than Matthew, and Matthew had to do the tasting, or he had to do the tour.
Right, the tour.
And so that I just had to do that, and I felt kind of uncomfortable having it because it was just a bunch of like douchebag guys, anyways. But it was just like, well, whatever, I guess. And my mother-in-law had been like, should I help out with the tasting? And I was like, no, don't do that. And I was just so thankful that she didn't, because I didn't want her to have to hear these guys say like shitty things towards me. And if there's anyone that can deal with guys saying shitty stuff towards you, it's probably me, because my work in the oil field for
usually involves you punching them though. So
I could have bunted him in the fucking face, but I didn't. I didn't really want a lawsuit on my hands. So
you used a restraint.
Yep. Instead, I just said, sorry, I only or I only take hundreds, and I don't think you have any. So it worked out just fine. But that's kind of an awkward situation just to deal with. Like,
to say the least.
I feel like you have to talk to people like that, anyways, and that like people are gonna say weird shit regardless, man or woman. They're like, oh, what are you doing up there?
Yeah.
Motherfuckers.
All right, Darren, anything for you?
Yeah. Mine's not as wholesome as any of your stories. It wasn't really for the better, but I thought it was at the time. So I had this friend in college.
Sure.
And she had met somebody online. And so like the first date they went on, she was like, hey, can you be just around just in case things go wrong because I met a guy online? I was like, yeah, sure.
We always want to bring a
dude
going on when you're going on a date. Yeah.
Then I somehow got roped into for 6
a threesome. Oh, okay. Here's where it goes weird. He's like, well, I got to finish through on this thing.
Being their third wheel. Because like one day I wasn't there and like they didn't have anything to talk about. So like I had to like do this for them for 6 weeks.
But your whole life built up to
you were there for every single one of their dates for 6 weeks?
I would get text messages and be like, hey, we're going to get ice cream. You want some ice cream? And it was as awkward as could be.
Fuck?
Why did the guy stick around?
She really likes this guy. She thinks there's something there. Let's give it a shot.
She really likes him?
Let's give it a shot. He's like a team thing, yeah.
Yeah, well,
was he deaf, mute, like could he not talk? So you just like need to like carry on the conversation. So
he was a little awkward in places,
obviously.
But he was also an engineer, so I was hoping that she would, marry an engineer, and then everything would be better.
Okay.
So after the 6 week, I was like, okay, I'm done with this.
Wait, what the audience? I'm worried about. So you were there for 6 weeks of dates. Where did this happen later? Like, why is this about to get weirder? Because it sounds like it's going to get weirder with wherever you're about to go with your next fucking sentence of where it happened with them. Did you need to assist with other things?
I wouldn't say it got weirder, but like they just needed me to like kick off the date night, like be there for the intro, basically, and then they would go home.
That's called a fluffer, Darren.
You don't think this is weird at any point,
Darren? That's called a fluffer. I'm not sure if you've ever looked that up online. That's called a fluffer.
No, I know what it is. Yeah. But where you're coming from.
The point here is his whole life built up to this because he had two sisters that were quite a bit older than him. Darren's almost a generation younger than his sister. So they're dating. He's a little kid. He's 4 or 5 years old and they're dating. And his dad would always make the move. They'd be like, hey, we're going to go out for ice cream and for dinner. And Darren's dad would be like, oh, Darren wants to go on that. Darren, you go with those two. When they're going. So he was set up from a very young age to be a cock block.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that was his role, even though it wasn't talked about. Darren didn't know. He just wanted to go get ice cream or whatever. He was like, oh,
going to movies. Fun. I got to go to PG-13 movies really early in life because that's what my sisters were going to see.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So,
but I hadn't even made that connection, Steve. But eventually I sat her down. I was like, this can't go on anymore. I have a life.
They got married. Darren was up at the front of the church with them. There was a whole thing going on.
He was there so then they date
for 6 months after that. Night. Perfectly fine. And then they broke up. I was like, I put all this work into your guys' relationship and you just toss it down the drain.
Well, maybe it's because you were there for all the dates.
Yeah. Well, I would have bailed way before that. I maybe the moment it's started.
You wouldn't have even showed up, Steve.
Yeah, I show up and there's this girl I want to go out with, and then there's Darren. I'll be like, oh, Darren's going to go with us. I'll be like, see you guys.
But you would have moderated really well.
Yeah, I would have moderated it, perhaps.
Can we drink?
Yeah, it is time to drink. What is everyone drinking? What is everyone drinking? Well, Becca's done with the topic. She got hers.
Wait, did Bo have his yet?
Yeah, he did.
He did. He went. I just want to make sure I didn't cut anyone off.
Everyone's gone. So, all right.
I couldn't hear any more about Darren being a fluffer.
Well, we'll have Lenny go first. Looks like a newer bottle.
Yeah, newish. It's Talnua's this year's Old Saints Keep.
Okay. Okay, not much there. Not much
disappointing.
No. We did hear it though, so that's our lead. I'll go next. I've got Baker 7 here. I'm going to do a bottle kill. It's pretty low, not as low as you might think, but enough for me to do a bottle kill. And so I don't expect really anything out of this. Big cork. It's not going to do anything. Lenny, you still have the lead. You have the lead right now, but I don't think that's going to hold. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, Bo, you're next.
I'm going with the single barrel bourbon on the banks, Knob Creek barrel pick for this year's festival.
Jesus, you spent some bucks there, or you got all for free. You just stole it. I don't know.
I stole it. I took it.
Yeah, he ran. Imagine Bo fleeing the scene with bottles. He's got like 8 bottles trying to run. Yeah. No. Lenny still has the lead. Bo wasn't much of a factor there. Beka, what do you got?
I've got some old Jet Brothers. I've got our Madeira wine barrel finish with another weird fucking cork. This is not our cork. I don't know why this is on here. I literally have no idea what's
a new riff cork.
Cork fuckery.
All that work for nothing.
Well, I think it's enough to take the lead. It was bad, but it's enough to take the lead. All right. Last but not least is Darren. Darren, what do you got?
I got some Stumpies from the ABV Barrel Shop.
Stand back up. I thought that was good.
It was good enough. I think it was bad. It was bad.
It was so sloshy. I got wet.
It was good enough.
Yeah, typical fluffer action.
Yeah, very weak cork pop group there. But it is what it is. He wins. So cheers, guys.
Yeah, cheers, Aaron.
Cheers.
Here.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to be talking about Maker's Mark GPS adventures. We'll do that in just a few. Okay, let's talk about the people that make these shows happen. First up is the Stave and Thief Society. Via their in-person class at Moonshine University in Louisville, Kentucky, the Stave and Thief Society is the place where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge an executive bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my executive bourbon steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. We're also sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop focuses exclusively on barrel picks. It's the job of owners Steve Akeley and Jim Fosnot to seek out distilleries that are making the best whiskey in the world, taste through their barrels, and select the ones that are off-profile in the best way possible. They have high standards and refuse to allow anything into their store other than something they would be proud to have their name on. This leads to some really awkward conversations with distilleries that can't make it, but they do it for you, their customers. Learn more about what is going on at their St. Louis-based store by heading over to abvbarrelshop.com. Last but not least, we are sponsored by Neely Family Distillery. Royce Neely is the 11th generation distiller in one of America's oldest distilling families. A visit to Neely Family Distillery takes you through family history, where you can see all the artifacts and newspaper clippings through the years from this family that started distilling in America after James Neely arrived from Northern Ireland in 1740. Today, Royce Neely and his team are crafting some of the best spirits in America. Their bourbon and absinthe offerings keep winning top honors in the spirits competitions. Recently, their absinthe made history as the first platinum winner in the absinthe category at the San Francisco Spirits Competition. Neely Family Distillery is definitely a bucket list destination if you are a bourbon fan. Learn more about their spirit offerings, visiting their facility, and the awards they have collected over at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com.
Hello, this is Jeff from Iowa, and you're listening to the Bourbon Daily with Colonel Steve.
Welcome back to the Bourbon Daily. Today we're talking about the nightmare, which is the GPS to Maker's Mark.
Yes. Has anybody done this in this group?
Yes.
Yeah, it's terrible. Oh
my God.
Is it,
Lenny's done it. Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed it.
You kind of enjoyed it.
enjoyed it.
They will take you on like less than
vehicle?
1 lane roads through cornfields. You can't see anything. You can't see anything. There's no place to move. And the road goes both ways, by the way. So there could be another car coming at you, which I just ran into that. And the guy's doing like 40 on this freaking road. There's no place. I'm over as far as I can go. And he goes by full speed. And I was like, he's going to sideswipe me. But he didn't. It was close.
But it's not even a 1 lane road. It's
right.
Like
it's the worst.
Yeah.
It's a one vehicle's tire width road.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is the absolute worst. Whenever I have anyone in the distillery tell me that they are going to Maker's Mark later on in the week, whatever the fuck they're doing, I go, where are you going first? And they're like, oh, we're just going to get on down. I'm like,
Go to Heaven Hill because it maps you easy
I
then.
go,
Yeah.
map into Heaven Hill.
Yep. That's the
and
way to do it.
then take the road to Maker's Mark. And
Don't
they go,
put straight Maker's Mark.
Why
don't go
is
from
that?
Limestone Branch.
Yeah.
Don't go from Limestone Branch. That's where I always ran into it.
Yeah.
I go to Heaven Hill, then go to Maker's Mark. I'm like, you will be fine. And know what's funny?
You'll live.
I fucking tell people this shit, right? I tell these motherfuckers.
Then they don't do it. Then they come back and be like, I should have done that.
I tell them this shit after it happened to me before when we did not know. Me and Royce went down the death road to Maker's Mark. The first time we ever went with you and VIP Amy.
Yeah.
And death road, horrible. And then I went on my second VIP tour with Amy. I got there just fine. I drove one of our nice vehicles down there.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was fantastic. We cruised down from Bardstown. I was driving behind Amy. It was great. And then my fucking dumb ass thought
should have gone back to Heaven Hill.
It
sounds stupid.
I saw the road. It said Maker's Mark Way. And I went, surely to God, you wouldn't name a death road Maker's Mark Way.
Yeah.
Surely to God, you wouldn't name the road to hell that, right? So I was like, that must be the road. No, it's not the road. That's the wrong road. That's the road that you should not be driving a nice vehicle down. Right. And so I just turned around. I was like, I'm not even going to attempt this. And I'm like, oh, I don't fucking die trying to turn this thing around because it's all just fucking drop-offs everywhere.
Yeah. Right. It is. It is drop-offs. I turned around
and it was fall. It was actually right around this time that I went with Amy last year. Yeah. And there was fucking like leaves and like whatever. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, this is the fucking worst. But I try and tell everyone that tells me at the distillery that they're going there, do not route in to Maker's Mark.
Right. Now, well, have you ever done that? Because you go to a lot of distilleries and stuff. You ever found yourself on a Maker's Mark adventure?
Yeah, the very first time I went to Maker's Mark, I ended up, I guess it's the same road you're all talking about. I ended up pulling over and calling them to say,
crying. Just in tears.
Yeah.
I was crying.
Why is it so skinny?
Shaking it.
I'll tell you what, you go in the morning. You go in the morning. Sometimes because I've had to get there early, been there like at 8 o'clock, and then you're driving down way early in the morning, and it gets like Kentucky gets lighter later than it does here in St. Louis, and it's dark, and it also gets foggy there. It's an area that gets foggy. It's like, holy fuck, what am I gonna? I'm gonna be dead. But yeah, so you called them. What they say?
Yeah, I just called. I said, look, I think I'm lost in the woods or something, and they're like, yep, just keep going. You're almost here. But it's like.
Just keep going.
They
don't even know where you're at. They don't even know where you're at. They're like, yeah, we're just right ahead of you.
Just keep going. They know where you're at.
They probably have the thing where they see. They've got cameras.
This is what we were talking about earlier with the phone call from the old people.
Yeah.
I think I'm lost in the woods. I'm going to die. Don't worry, Joanne. Just keep driving.
Right.
You're going to be
not gonna
okay.
Die yet.
Go a quarter of a mile.
That's one of the buttons on the new Jitterbug. I'm lost.
Yeah.
Trying to get to Maker's Mark.
Maker's Mark GPS button.
Yeah. Yeah.
Royce and I drove down there that first time, and I was just, in my head, I'm going, you're telling me
a major distillery
that all these fucking
18-wheelers
buses?
Yeah. What about people delivering grain and goods and
all
barrels?
This stuff. I'm like, all these tour buses, all these fucking things go down this goddamn road to get to Maker's Mark. Is this a fucking joke?
Right.
I couldn't believe it. And then
they have to tell the truck drivers that, right? I mean, imagine seeing an 18-wheeler down because they just follow GPS too. And
then you fucking get around you get around the horrible death corners. It's like the very last one is like one of the
blind
worst
turns.
ones. It's like,
yeah.
And you turn around it, then all of a sudden you just see this massive campus, and like you see off to the distance this beautiful fucking road you could take it in, and you go, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Right. Yeah.
Oh, it pisses me off.
So,
God damn, it pisses me off.
Each time I've gone to Maker's, I've been at Limestone Branch, and the first time I made a wrong turn right out of the parking lot, and then my GPS rerouted and it worked. Well, the second time I just listened to the GPS. I was like, whoa, look at this road. So it was cool. It would suck if I didn't encounter anyone else on the road when I was there. So it was just me driving down this road. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I didn't really know it was two ways until 10 seconds ago when someone said that.
Yeah, that's a two-way road.
Hold on. From Limestone Branch to Maker's Mark is a good road.
No, there's a bad way to go. Yeah,
there's a bad way
too? Yeah. There's one of these roads.
Me, I found it.
Yeah.
But I think I would want to live off of that road. And you could sit out there and watch people lose.
If you drive down by the golf course and then you go take a left onto that road and then head that way from Limestone, that's when you end up with that bad road. It's terrible. Yeah. It's terrible, man.
I didn't think it was going to go in this direction necessarily. I loved it because the first time I went there, I forgot where I was coming from, but I went the traditional heavily trafficked way. The second time, Amy and I drove that way, and I was like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah, until someone's coming the other way. Yeah.
Well, first of all, so I was in a Tundra the rental car I got. So I felt like that. I mean,
you could just pull into the field.
But that was big enough that somebody else, I'd be like, you're going to have to move.
To Beka's point, some of it, there's drop-offs. You can't.
I was driving a fucking Corvette.
Right. Which is like worst case scenario. Yeah.
Yeah.
Only Lenny would go, I'm going to rent a car. Do you have a 4-wheel drive Tundra?
Yeah, do you have a Tundra? Do you have
a guy should be in a Miata is what he needs to be in. Yeah.
Yeah. I need to look smaller. What's the biggest vehicle you have?
Yeah. Yeah. Huh.
Now, I legitimately liked it. Also, our roads are like that sometimes. Like, we've got plenty of roads that are very similar to that, where it's not just a drop-off. It's like a 500-foot drop-off. So, I don't know. I thought it was cool. And all I could think of is, I want to ride a motorcycle on this road. I mean, the Tundra is fine, but I thought it was awesome.
What if it's pouring down rain?
Tell everybody to do it.
Would you like to make that in pouring down rain? What if it was snowing? Would you like to make that trek on that same road when it's snowing?
I don't like driving anywhere if it's raining or snowing.
But it's incrementally
when it's nice out, it's awesome.
But when you come out and you see Maker's Mark for the first time, it is a like Jurassic Park moment. It's like,
yeah,
that's cool. It just pops out of nowhere, this big ass distillery.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's fucking epic. I tell people to take that shitty road.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I do.
Folks.
I'll keep doing it.
Don't do that.
Whatever you do, if you're listening to this fucking podcast and you've never been to Maker's Mark, do not route into Maker's Mark, route into Heaven Hill,
and then go to Maker's Mark. Yeah.
Maker's Mark after the fact. Especially if you're from not in Kentucky.
Yeah.
And you're not used to death roads.
Yeah.
Which those are very bad death roads. Do not, for the love of God, route into Maker's Mark and just go there.
It's way easier and more fun than a jiu-jitsu competition.
You can either eat bland chicken or eat the spicy chicken.
I was just at Maker's Mark like 2 weeks ago, and then you go to the gift shop, and then you can either walk all the way back, and it's straight uphill, by the way, or you can get a bus. And we take the bus, and the bus driver was like, "All right, folks, as you leave, don't turn on your GPS. Take a right out of here. If you turn on the GPS, it'll tell you to take a left. That's going to take you through some really bad roads. Take a right, go to the top of the hill, then hit your GPS on, and it will route you the right way. You'll go back by Heaven Hill." I'm like, this guy's heard this a ton of times.
Like, does it say it on their fucking website? Like, that should be the first thing it says on their website.
It should be.
Are you trying to come here? If you
go to GPS Heaven Hill and then come to us.
I'm going to go a step further and say that Maker's Mark, their parent company is large enough, they could be like, yo, Google, cut it out.
Yeah, they could.
Why don't they fucking talk to Google?
They could buy like the land on the road and widen the road and make everything perfect. They have that money.
They could do that, but they could also...
I don't know if they could actually, but I mean, that's a lot of like homeowner stuff. I don't know if they could actually buy the land because it is a bunch of back roads, bullshit.
They could work and say, "Hey, you're putting some people in some danger here," but route them this way. I think they could do that.
They should like close it off to like locals only. It should be like a locals only road or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it says
they
locals
put a
only.
Drawbridge in if they wanted to.
They should put a fucking drawbridge in. Yes, Lenny. A goddamn drawbridge. That's what they should do.
You love drawbridges.
You've solved it, Lenny.
That's what I was thinking.
They're going to put a drawbridge
What's going to fix this is a drawbridge.
They should put a toll booth in. Maybe that would make more sense than a drawbridge, Lenny.
I told you.
Yeah.
A toll booth would
go
make
back
more
to
sense.
episode whatever. I told you fuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God,
The
that's
woman claims when she was a kid, when they would go to, she had some family in Iowa, when they go visit them, you had to cross a bridge where a guy owned it, and you had to go knock on the door of his house if he wasn't there to pay him to go across the bridge. Does that sound true?
Who says that?
Was this in like the 1800s?
Who said this?
The warden. The warden said that.
So she was around when there was trolls still?
I guess.
Where did she grow up?
Steve, I have a business idea.
Give me 2 shillings to
pay
pass.
the troll the toll, or you can't
grew
get
up in
across the
Narnia.
bridge.
We do that for Jefferson Barracks Bridge, and we just make a killing, Steve.
Yeah. We'll
Make
just
them
take it
pay
over,
us
be
to
like,
cross
yeah.
it.
I'm going to take over fucking the road out here soon and make
I
all
don't
these fucking
understand.
people.
She claims. I think she made that up. I think it's like
fuck?
Bo, when you wake up Bo and you're like, where's your friend at? He's like, oh, he went to this house here, and then he's out in the woods back there, and it's like, and then to come back and be like, Bo, none of that's true. I think it's
I
the same.
bet she's not making it up as much as she was told that by like a parent or something.
Maybe. I don't know.
It just
No, I
planted
think someone
that.
just had $1 million idea, and no one caught him because it was middle of Iowa, and no one gave a fuck.
This is my bridge. It's my
There's
bridge.
trolls still living in Iowa. I
gotta
guess.
pay
It sounds like the next facet of the ABV barrel shop.
Yeah,
Somehow.
we're gonna
The
get a
troll
bridge.
bridge?
They go, that's old man Akeley. Just let him be.
Yeah, pay him. Pay the man his
Pay
money.
him his
Pay him.
$2.55 and let him be.
Worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it. There you go. So yeah, that's the warden. She tells a story. They had to pay a guy on a bridge. So, yeah. All right,
awesome.
We'll wrap this one up as we always do by talking about where people can find us. Darren, we're going to start with you. Where can people find you?
You can find me at the Bourbon Adventures, going down sketchy death roads everywhere I want to, and also several days a week at the ABV Barrel Shop.
All right, Lenny.
You can find me and the rest of Deerhammer on social media at Deerhammer, on the web at deerhammer.com, and you can come visit us in beautiful Buena Vista, Colorado.
All right, Mr. Bo.
I'm on all the socials under my journey through the American spirits and Bourbon Sasquatch.
Miss Beka Sue.
You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Miss Beka Sue, 1K, no C's. And you can find me at the easiest distillery to get to off of Interstate 71, exit 55, barely a mile off the road. You won't have to go through any sort of death traps to get here.
That is easy.
At Neely Family Distillery.
Yeah. I'm going to set up where I'm going to say I charge that on that road, though. I'm going to be up at the top of the hill and be like, I actually own this road that goes between here and that other gas station on the other
The
side.
troll knows.
Yeah. Well, all right. For me, I'm an easy guy to find. I'm at Steve Akeley on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. We've also got a company website. That thing's abvnetwork.com. That's where we put all of our shows, our blogs, so much more, abvnetwork.com. Come by and see us. If you're in St. Louis, the ABV Barrel Shop, no toll roads by us. We'd have you come in, see what we've got in terms of barrel picks, taste some of the stuff you can try before you buy. We are online at abvbarrelshop.com. Miss Beka Sue, anything else to say before we get out of here?
I'd just like to remind our audience to please give us a 5-star review that includes comments. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. If you like what we're doing, we ask you please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/the ABV Network.
Great job today, gang. For audience, we'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Until then, take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
Hey guys.
Peace. Before we finish the show, let's talk about some of the great companies that support the ABV network. First up is Moonshine Still Pro. Moonshine Still Pro is owned and operated by Russell Creed, who makes stills for the hobby distiller. He offers a one-stop shop for everything the at-home distiller needs. Whether it's a small, experimental stovetop still or something bigger you run outside, he has the still or parts you would have difficulty fabricating yourself if you were trying to build a DIY still project. Additionally, he has resources to assist in creating unique distilled spirits, including heirloom grains, barrels for aging, and recipes. Check out Russell's company online at moonshinestillpro.com. Finally, I have a question for you. Have you ever boxed a bear? Of course not. That'd be silly. Bears really don't follow the rules, so shots in the back of the head, punches to the nuts, and scrums after the bell would be the norm. A better idea would be to enjoy Boxing Bear Whiskey, a brand crafted by Nobleton's Distilling House in Union, Missouri, and sold exclusively at the ABV Barrel Shop in suburban St. Louis. This is a popular offering that sells out quickly, but when you're in town, stop by the ABV Barrel Shop and see if they have it in stock. Better yet, sign up for their email and text distribution over at abvbarrelshop.com and you'll know exactly when it is in stock. This is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network, signing off. We thank you for listening to our programming and truly appreciate your support.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.